Hey, today I'm talking about three of arguably the best ever skateboarding films, all featuring Tony Hawk. And the names of those three films are Lords of Dogtown, Thrashin, and Gleaming the Cube. First up is Lords of Dogtown. This is a 2005 movie starring... I never feel confident in pronouncing his name. It also has Heath Ledger in it, and he's just freaking fantastic. And the basic premise is this is loosely inspired by the true story of the Z-Boys, which are a group of skateboarders in Dogtown, which is a section of Los Angeles. They're skateboarders, and they came onto the scene, and they changed the scene forever, and now the world's better for it. And this movie's interesting. So the story is definitely interesting. The acting is actually pretty good. He gives an incredible performance. He always gives such a good performance. And the kids do a pretty good job too. The biggest issue with the movie is the beginning. What I feel like happened was the movie was too long for some executives, so they needed to cut it down to an hour 40. And so they just took out bits from the beginning. They were just going so fast in the beginning, not slowing down for a second. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who our lead characters are. Who's our point of view character? What's happening? This is so weird. I don't really get it. Like, I get kind of the generalness of it, but I don't get it. And also the end was interesting. Just because it felt like we missed important parts of the story. Like, Emil's character, at one point he's just like walking down the street, and one of the guys who gets success is like, hey, hop in my car and you can be successful too. And he's like, no, I'm busy. And I'm like, is he in a gang? Like, he's dressed like he's in a gang. What is happening? And then at the end of the movie, when the text is on screen, it's like, and he was recently released from drug charges. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more to his story that you are not telling us. So like, yeah, I don't know. There was a documentary about these guys made a few years before this that I feel probably tells a more full picture of what their whole vibe was. So I'm tempted to watch that. This one was fine. It was all right. I just don't think I got the whole picture, and the beginning's a little rough. I would still recommend it though. It's a fun film. Just don't go into it with the highest expectations. It's decent, just not amazing. Next up is Thrashin. It is a 1986 film starring Josh Brolin. Look at him. He is such a baby. I think he's 20 in this. And he's just like, he's got like the most pinchable cheeks. And he is shirtless for most of this movie. And I feel like that was a him choice because like he is so tan and so ripped. It was also just hilarious for me to watch this and be like, that's freaking Thanos. Look at it. Thanos is a little punk ass bitch. It's great. What? Yeah. The basic premise is Thanos, Josh, plays a boy from the Valley who comes to visit his friends in the not Valley, Los Angeles, to do skateboarding stuff and do some competitions. But there's a gang called the Daggers, and they don't like people who live in the Valley, so they don't like Josh. But then Josh bangs the leader of the gang's sister, and that makes things complicated. And then there's a downhill race, which is amazing. And that's the story. So where this movie truly shines is all of the skateboarding stuff. Like, they did such a good job of making all of that super captivating. It's to the point of like, I would kind of tune out a little bit when story stuff happened, but as soon as someone got on a skateboard, which was very often, I would be like, all right, I'm in it. Let's do it. And really, this movie's like 75% skateboarding montages. Like, oh my god, I loved the end because it's a downhill race. But like, it's not presented like a race. It's just kind of like you're constantly seeing footage of people going downhill and characters you don't know are just crashing constantly. And it's amazing. And there's no real tension because you don't really know where anyone is in comparison to anyone else, including Josh's character, the Thrashmeister, until it's like the last two guys. And then it's kind of like, well, obviously Josh is gonna win at this point, but this is still exciting, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this movie's kind of amazing. Definitely terrible, but also amazing. I would totally recommend this movie under very specific circumstances. I would say like watch it with a bunch of friends, probably drinking, that would be fun. And you definitely should be playing one of the Tony Hawk games as well. Like just kind of have like one screen Tony Hawk, one screen Thrashin, and you're in for a good time. Like just kind of vaguely pay attention to it and you're gonna like it a lot. And lastly is Gleaming the Cube. This is a 1989 film starring Christian Slater, and it's something else. So this is a skateboarding movie. The basic premise is Christian is a skateboard punk whose step sibling is Vietnamese, and he has a Vietnamese girlfriend, and he works for a Vietnamese pharmacy as their temporary accountant, but then he discovers that the drug manufacturer is screwing them over on something. But then it turns out, no, that the pharmacy and the drug manufacturer are actually working together to deal arms. And so now they're trying to interrogate the stepbrother, but then whoops, they accidentally kill him. And so now Christian Slater is really sad, and he believes the police aren't doing enough because there's no way that his brother would kill himself. So he decides to, on his own, investigate the death of his stepbrother and look into the Vietnamese community in this, I guess, Los Angeles suburb area. Orange County? I think they're in Orange County. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know California. Also, he skateboards. Not a lot. He has it with him a lot, but it's there as he investigates the death of his stepbrother, who's Vietnamese. It's really important that you know that he's Vietnamese. I don't know why that's important, but the movie makes a big deal about it for a lot of the runtime. So I put this movie down very low because it just didn't work for me on the day that I watched it. But honestly, I feel like on a different day, I could have enjoyed this movie more. I don't know if it would be in the liked category. I think it could have at least made its way into the meh category because it is just so ridiculous and over the top. Like, I loved the montage where after he found out that his stepbrother of 11 years has passed away, he goes through half pipe and does some sweet ass moves. And actually really cool. That's some of the best stuff of these three movies. But like, it's so ridiculous because like, I guess it makes sense for him to mourn in his own way, but it's also really, really silly and I can't take him seriously for a second here. And yeah, I tuned out so hard with this movie. I think I definitely needed to be intoxicated and with some friends, and I could have really, really enjoyed this absurd movie. So even though I didn't like it, I would still recommend it if you're not sober. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Lords of Dogtown sitting at number 145 in the liked category, really close to the top of the liked category. And then after that is Thrashin sitting at number 183, also in the liked category, near the bottom of the liked category. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is Gleaming the Cube, which, by the way, I have no idea what that means. No clue. Sitting at number 226 in the didn't like category. And this is out of a total of 246 old movies so far this year.